on. Next up is Avengers Age of Ultron. Not as good as the first Avengers, definitely the weakest out of the 4 Avengers movies to come out. I just think that it could have been way better than what it was. I know that there are people who like it. I think it's still good. It's still a good movie to watch. It's a fun Marvel movie to watch. But as when it comes to like against the other 4 Avengers movies, like the first one, the third one, and Endgame, it just doesn't hold up against it. So it is a good movie, but it's just not fantastic like the other 3 were. And then we have Captain America Civil War, Iron Man versus Captain America. And this is another great theater experience I had. You had people, when I went to the theater to see it, you had people wearing Iron Man shirts, you had people wearing Captain America shirts. But, I was rocking an Iron Man shirt because I've always been an Iron Man fan. But, man, what a great movie. Fantastic movie. Another fantastic MCU movie. Just good action. The fights were awesome, especially between Team Iron Man versus Team Captain America in the movie. And you had the big surprise of Spider-Man, which was fucking cool as shit to see. So, I fucking love Civil War. I think it's fantastic. So coming up next is Doctor Strange, a great surprise movie from with Benedict Cumberbatch as Strange, and man, I fucking love this movie, dude. This is easily another one of my personal favorites out the MCU. It didn't have any right to be as good as it fucking was, but it was. I love it so much, I went and got the Steelbook. I didn't even get the normal one. I got the 4K Steelbook of Doctor Strange. Fucking love this movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Benedict Cumberbatch is fucking amazing in it. It's the sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I know some people say this one isn't as good as the first movie, like it isn't as good as it. I think it's on par with it. I think this movie was great. It's funny. It does retread some of the same jokes at times, but it's the jokes that really work, and to me they still work even watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2 back to back. Fantastic movie from Disney and the MCU. A great sequel, and I can't wait for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, where they're going to have Chris Hemsworth's Thor as part of the Guardians. I cannot wait, and I hate the way these things are. It's like a little bit of it. Why don't they know how to make good? Okay, I think it's fine right there. So coming up next is SpiderMan Homecoming, taking place after the events of Civil War. Man, this is my favorite Spider-Man movie to this day. And I of course got the Steelbook where it shows him fighting Falcon. Well, not Falcon, but Vulture. Can't think today. But, man, such a great Spider-Man movie. Tom Holland is the perfect Peter Parker to me. He is better than Tobey Maguire, and he is better than Andrew Garfield, in my opinion. While both of those weren't necessarily bad Spider-Mans, I think Tom Holland really steals the show with Spider-Man. Great Spider-Man movie. And people don't consider this part of the MCU. I do. Because it does take place after the events of Captain America's Civil War. It shows the events of it. So to me, it does count as an MCU movie. Coming up next is my favorite Thor movie, Thor Ragnarok. This is easily the funniest movie out the entirety of the MCU. It's just fucking hilarious. There's a reason why this one's my favorite MCU movie ever made. It just has the greatest humor, greatest writing, greatest acting from Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo, who comes back as Hulk in this movie. Jeff Goldblum is a fantastic villain. I fucking love him. He makes me smile ear to ear. He's better than the main villain, which is Odin's daughter. If the whole movie would have been focused on just Jeff Goldblum's villain, it would have been perfect. But as it stands right now, this is still my favorite MCU movie ever made. Alright, so coming up next is Black Panther. This is the first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture of the Year, and I don't agree with that. I do think that the movie is great. I love Black Panther to death. I think it's one of the great Marvel movies, but to me, it's not Best Picture quality. Something like Joker is, but honestly, I don't see this as Best Movie contender. I'd rather see Thor Ragnarok nominated. I'd rather see the first Avengers nominated, Endgame nominated, which Endgame wasn't nominated, which makes no sense because they nominate this but didn't nominate Endgame. It makes no fucking sense. But still a good Marvel movie. It's just it really I didn't agree with it being nominated for Best Picture of the Year. All right, so after that we got Avengers Infinity War. Oh man, oh man. I remember seeing trailers for this. I'm like, man, how are they gonna do Thanos? How are they gonna do Thanos? Because I remember you saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy, but goddamn, they made him so fucking menacing in Infinity War. Like Jesus, and it was a very emotional movie. It was very sad. It had really good moments in it. It's fantastic. And if anything, this one should have also been nominated for Best Picture of the Year because this had really good cinematic moments in it. And while people like Martin Scorsese can sit there and say, "Oh, it's not Oscar worthy and it shouldn't be in theaters and all that," I do think that movie should have been nominated for at least an Oscar. So coming up after that, after the heartbreak of Infinity War emotionally, comes AntMan and the Wasp. A great cheer up movie after the events of Infinity War. Great sequel to Ant-Man. One of my favorites. I love it to death. Paul Rudd, again, is excellent in it. And then coming up after that is Avengers not Avengers Endgame, sorry. Lose my mind. It's Captain Marvel. People don't like this movie. I could definitely see why. I personally think it's good. I think it's a fun movie to watch. The director already admitted this is a feminist movie, so I kind of knew what I was getting into going in, but it's still a fun movie to watch, and I still enjoy it. So coming up next, officially, Avengers Endgame. Why this wasn't nominated for Best Picture, I'll never know, because this movie was phenomenal. It is a phenomenal movie, and I'm pretty sure we've all seen it by now, so spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Iron Man's death and Black Widow's death was probably the most hardest hitting deaths in the MCU, and I think it's also perfect. And then the last movie is Spider-Man Far From Home, which I don't own yet. Great sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, and I think it's awesome. That was basically a quick rundown of what I think of the MCU movies. I definitely think they're way better than the DCEU movies, but I love these movies. And I can't wait to go back and rewatch them, which I'm going to be doing right now and reviewing on Stardust. So, later, guys.